Joanna is my name. After 7 years, my first marriage ended, and I was left to manage life with my 2 lovely children, who were 2 and 7 years old at the time. Though it wasn't simple, we managed to go through. My present fiancé, Mark, astonished me in life a few years later. He's a 45-year-old man who has been such a joy and steady presence in our life. He's kind and understanding. We have a really strong, loving bond that I didn't think I would ever experience again. But Mark's background wasn't an easy one. He had previously been married. They had IVF and had their embryos frozen since they were having trouble becoming pregnant. However, their relationship had suffered as a result of their inability to conceive and start a family. They therefore chose to get a divorce. However, Mark's ex-wife opted to use the embryos in secret and became pregnant after their divorce. She kept it a secret from Mark. However, we were horrified to learn that she had filed a child support lawsuit against Mark recently. Mark had no idea that his ex would do this behind his back, and he had entirely forgotten about the frozen embryos. This is a really complicated situation, in my opinion. On the one hand, following their divorce, Mark's ex-wife decided to use the embryos they had developed to have a child. They had both gone on with their lives, and Mark had not been involved in this choice. It seems unjust that she is now requesting child support given the circumstances surrounding her pregnancy decision. It brings up a lot of issues with accountability, permission, and the agreements they made when they started their IVF journey. However, a child is now involved, an innocent party deserving of love and care from both parents in any circumstance. I've talked to Mark about this a lot over the past several nights, trying to work through our frustration, rage, perplexity, and worry for the child. The fact that Mark's ex-wife made a big decision on her own and is now asking for help doesn't seem right in my opinion. Finding a solution that takes into account the welfare of all parties involved, especially the kids, is crucial. In order to be aware of our rights and options, we spoke with a lawyer. So, if we choose not to help that youngster and to stay out of his life, will we be the bad guys? When undergoing IVF, you are typically required to sign papers outlining what should happen to embryos in the event of a divorce, death, etc. However, I suppose each clinic is unique. In addition, they ought to have resolved the embryo issue at the time of the divorce. However, in this case, they find themselves in this predicament. I can see why the original poster is conflicted, though, as he was unaware that she would act in that manner and that she had done it behind his back. However, looking at it another way, it's his child. Thus, when the child is born, I'm sure OP will be there and will make the child support payment. Let's now hear what the community has to say. According to Eni5, I don't think the mom fully realized the consequences of going after OP's husband for child support payments. I doubt the mom wants her husband to lose important parental rights or for OP's husband to get custody, which both are possible if she continues to pursue this. According to Paper Conservation 101, isn't an actress from Modern Family having this issue? She wants to destroy her embryos, but her ex-husband wants to keep them for his new wife or something. According to Peter the Great, it's funny that so many people think this is fake and OP made it up. My first reaction was that OP's husband had a baby the old-fashioned way and made up the story. Update. The lawsuit eventually happened with the court ruling that Mark should contribute child support. It wasn't the easiest outcome to accept given the circumstances, but it did bring a sort of closure. We could finally look ahead instead of being stuck in limbo. Our relationship was truly put to the test by this whole legal maze. Although difficult, it strengthened our relationship. We gained a lot of knowledge about relying on one another through difficult times. Mark's connection with his former partner suffered. That should come as no surprise. They've been attempting to work through the stress that the lawsuit brought, trying to figure out how to co-parent this new little life. We're attempting to work through our feelings and accept that Mark will become a father, even though this entire situation has been an emotional roller coaster. For those who are interested in our current status, let me say that we are making progress, little by little. We're managing, working together to find a way through this unanticipated phase. It's been an incredible experience and a roller coaster of emotions. Although the title seems strange, this is the truth. I broke up with my ex 5 years ago after a year of dating. I was terribly hurt when he ended our relationship. Apart from getting incredibly drunk on a night out and sending him some humiliating texts a few weeks after the split. I can't say I did anything insane back then. It wasn't helping that, despite my attempts to create boundaries and express that I needed time to grieve, he kept messaging me to be friends. It was the greatest heartbreak I've ever had. That was all in the past, though. I'm over him, and I can say with confidence that I've moved past that. He just tied the knot with a woman he had dated for about 2 months following our breakup. To be honest, I'm glad for him. Well done, guys. Since then, though, I've gone on dates, but I haven't been able to meet somebody worth getting married to. Since then, I haven't been in a committed relationship again. We still have a lot of shared friends from college, so he's still on the outskirts of my social circle, even if I occasionally run into him in public. His wife and I have always treated each other with polite disinterest, even though he and I have buried the hatchet and typically only chat when we happen to be in the same room for a while. We never text or get together outside of these situations. She doesn't genuinely like me, I know that. Her lengthy unemployment history is an essential fact about her. She has a master's degree, but she hasn't worked in many years. I'm not sure if that's because she wants to be a stay-at-home wife, which is a perfectly legitimate option if that's her thing, or because she's had trouble finding employment. Over the last 5 years, I've made significant progress in my profession, and for someone my age, I'm rather far ahead in my industry. And I'm really pleased with myself since I put in a lot of effort. Well, here's the problem. A group of individuals went out for drinks the other day. They were both there when I arrived. In a bar, we were all seated at the same table. I was asked whether I was dating somebody by someone I haven't seen in a long time. My ex's wife promptly made the snide comment, "It's okay, some people just stay single." In front of everyone, like 10 of our friends, to which I answered, "No, not right now." I interrupted without thinking, "Yeah, just like some people meant to stay unemployed." She became very agitated, started crying, and walked out. Her spouse sent me a note saying I ought to apologize for making her feel uncomfortable. I said that I would if she first apologized. He claimed that she declined since, presumably, what I said was worse. Do I look like an a-hole? That gave me a laugh. Op shouldn't apologize at all. She let her claws show, and Op responded with a sharp jab. An apology is given to keep a relationship going, unless you've done something for which you sincerely regret. Op is under no need or desire to keep up a relationship with this female. Her attempt to publicly disgrace Op failed. Leave the kitchen if you can't take the heat. No, says Ashley B. Not the a-hole. Her actions and words were inappropriate. Your response is really insightful. She seems envious of your accomplishments and the fact that you and her spouse are still in contact. She seems to be really insecure about it. Do you think it's feasible to break things off with your ex even though you get along well with him now? Simply put, it appears that his wife enjoys berating you. Since she is now his life partner, he must always support her. I just think that if she continues to be included in your social circle, which she will be since she is his wife, it will lead to an odd drift. It's not the a-hole who's being judged. If you don't want to hear something back from someone, don't insult or make a comment. It was obvious that she wanted to give rather than receive, and most people don't operate that way. What is the worst that may occur? If you are in the same social circle as them, they will not speak to you. You probably don't really care if they do or don't. Everyone in this place is bad, but really, you dated this guy for a year and broke up with him more than 5 years ago, says Forward Squirrel 8879. You have to get over the fact that he and his spouse occupy so much mental real estate. I, a 48-year-old man, discovered my 46-year-old wife was having an affair 3 years ago. One day, she told me she was in love with this guy she met at work, that she no longer loved me, and that she wanted a divorce. She had only known this guy for 3 months. She and I had been dating since our 20s at the time. 3 children total, 28 boys, 26 boys, and 23 girls. I made an effort to defend my marriage and avoided getting a divorce, but wife insisted on meeting this person. I had to kick her out of the house after one weekend. She vanished from Friday afternoon to Sunday night. She moved in with this guy right away. She never offered me any other justification than, "I never wanted to hurt you, but there's just something about this guy, and I deserve to be happy." That was the extent of her thinking behind. discarding what we had created together. Early in 2020, our divorce was finally finalized. I faked it long enough to secure relatively favorable divorce terms from her, even though I had extremely harsh feelings for her. She didn't appear to have time for a protracted divorce because she was so ready to be with her ideal man. Ultimately, I was able to retain both my pension and the property that I had purchased for my grandmother. But I had to give her half of my 401k. The impact on our children was rather severe. They all three took it rather hard. My eldest son warned her that he would never date this man again if she ended up choosing him. Neither of our sons has a relationship with their mother at this time. Although our daughter does occasionally speak with her, their connection is, to put it mildly, extremely weird. Despite her best efforts, my daughter, who is incredibly compassionate, generally leaves their conversations with her mother feeling even more agitated than when they began. My ex phoned me out of the blue about 4 months after the divorce. She requested to return home after admitting to me that she had made a terrible mistake. Her ideal partner proved to be an alcoholic who, according to her, is harsh with words and squandered all of her money. I took advantage of the chance to express to her my true feelings about her as a wife, mother, and human. I advised her to live with the fact that this was her new life. I told her not to get in touch with me ever again and that she no longer had a place at this property. Then, during the course of the previous year, a couple things occurred that motivated her to start contacting me once more. I met someone, first of all. I got along well with my sister's friend, who was also divorced, whom she introduced to me. Since the summer of last year, we have been dating, and even though we have decided that neither of us wants to get married again, we are still together. My ex tried to get in touch with me again when she found out, but I ignored her. My son likewise tied the knot without inviting his mother. She tried to persuade me to step in on her behalf once more by contacting me. I never spoke to him, even though I promised her I would. In my heart, I think she deserves all of the suffering she is going through. She wrecked our family without even thinking twice about our children. Regretfully, really depressing. She recently revealed to our daughter that she had had enough of the dream man's drinking and complete lack of responsibility, and that's why she had ended things. I had to give her half of my 401k, but he squandered it. He drove intoxicated and totaled her car as well. This from a 40-something male. Once more, she ruined our entire family for this guy, whom she had known for 3 months. I pretend to be sympathetic towards her, but deep down, I actually like seeing her in such misery. Whatever you want to call me, I'm not wicked. This is what she deserved because she brought it upon herself. I had to sit there one Saturday night while she dressed for a date with this guy and giggled about how awkward our living arrangement was over the phone with her friend. She caused me to spend more than a year in misery. Await her revelation that our son and his spouse are expecting a child later this year. She might have had the opportunity to meet her grandchild if she had been able to keep her legs closed. Enjoy your beat-up used automobile and your horrible one-bedroom apartment. This summer, while my new partner and I are vacationing in Hawaii, we will be thinking of you. My former partner and I had always discussed taking a trip to Hawaii once our daughter graduated from college. I might email her some photos. What can I say, then? Well-being is the best form of retaliation. OpsX made a deliberate decision. She didn't make a mistake. She was trying to say that she was sorry the way her decision didn't work out. Op ought to be content that he can experience love once more. It is impossible to comprehend the mental screw that is an exit affair, according to the gentle serenity of one who has never been there. There must be something to witnessing the inevitable outcomes unfold. Hawaii, I hope you have a fantastic time. According to Aragon's Castle, my brother was about 4 years old and I was just about a year old when my dad cheated on my mother. He was acting really aggressively towards my mother and was having an affair with a 17-year-old. He assured her that she would amount to nothing, make fun of him. For 18 years, my mom and stepdad have been together. They own a massive 3-story home with expansive gardens, travel frequently, are well off, and lead wonderful lives overall. My dad's life is utterly horrible, but I don't want him to suffer. My half-brother doesn't talk to him and hates him. He is still fighting a lot with his wife, living in the same small apartment and working at a bad job or not at all. Karma is a genuine thing. A rose indicates that she was not mistaken. She had the arrogance to withdraw half of your 401k even though she was aware of the ramifications of her conduct. She's ready to lie in her freshly made bed. You don't seem nasty to me at all. Move past her and carry on with your life. You no longer need to co-parent or speak with each other because your children are all grown-ups. Keep her from ruining your life any longer. I only decided to tell about this now, 6 months after it first happened, since I'm depressed and don't see any improvement in sight. We were present at a celebration. Since my friend is unmarried, we got to talking about relationships and love. I've had a happy 7 years of marriage with my wife. Our 3 lovely kids are our possessions. My life's love is her. I had the impression that my friend and I were thinking at different levels when we were conversing. His criticisms on the appearances of the women he dated are mainly petty. Everyone fell silent, and my damage control was worse, as I muttered something along the lines of, "You don't fall in love with looks. Look at me and my wife. I love her more than anything compared to my ex, who was just looks." I was a little inebriated at the time. I finally gave up and shut up. Though I was unable to make my argument, I considered the possibility that these ideas had been there in my mind all along but had only surfaced while I was intoxicated. My spouse was taken aback. She was furious the first week and demanded to know what I meant, but nothing I said satisfied her. I was inebriated. I cherish her. She's the most gorgeous woman, in my opinion. She believed that my honesty was shown because I was intoxicated. She didn't cry this time, but she hasn't been happy since. One morning, she simply said, "You know, I've never felt as ugly as I have this past week. I've always thought I am beautiful." I began to cry and apologize, but she seemed completely heartless. She had last glanced at me at that point. She is reserved and aloof, but only when we are together. She works out 6 or 7 days a week and has shed 20 pounds. I never see her in her spare time. She spends her time reading or listening to music on her headphones when she's not spending time with the kids, her family, or friends. Even in bed, she now always wears her whole wardrobe. When she showers, she shuts the door to the bedroom. She also uses social media more frequently. She expresses gratitude to everyone who compliments her and posts numerous photos of herself. She used to only post images of our kids and dogs, but these days she works out while wearing tights and sports bras. I don't know how to mend what I did to break her. Spicy 116 claims that while she might not want to end the family at this time for the sake of the children, I'm very certain that she has already left this marriage. What you said, that your wife has personality and your ex is hotter, is true, according to Serendipity Lurking. It must have been terrible if you're not prepared to disclose it on Reddit where people can remain anonymous, as you're not stating what your damage control was. Whether it was conscious or not, you had the idea, "My ex was hotter," which has the power to destroy a person. Assuming that's what you genuinely believe, I don't think you can solve it. Nobody is implying that you don't love your wife, but in a relationship, physical attraction plays a significant role, and you essentially stated that you were more attracted to your ex on a physical level. It matters who you say things to and how you say things when you say them. Edit. It is not damage control to claim that your friend should be happy and receive a 6 just like you. One sentence does not destroy a marriage, according to IC Organization 338. These are the same things that broke the camel's back. Indeed, you could have apologized, made amends, provided a better explanation, and made things right in a happy and healthy relationship. However, this would have been extremely humiliating and embarrassing for her. This was the last straw for her. Stuff was horrible. That's the reason you hurt her.